My name is Natalie Ellison, and I'm 35 years old, the youngest daughter of the Ellison family. Old money, old secrets, and an even older obsession with control. While my parents built a legal empire out of polished lies and pristine signatures, I was the quiet one, art school dropout, emotional support daughter, the one they never thought would fight back. I was always a step behind in their eyes, and I let them believe it. Growing up in their house was like living inside a museum, beautiful, expensive, and cold. I never fit into their world, but I never imagined they'd erase me from it entirely. They took everything, my home, my name, my future, and they did it with my signature. Only one problem: I never signed anything. I pulled up to the Ellison estate just before midnight. The driveway lights flicked on automatically, warm gold flooding the dark cobblestone, illuminating the lion's head fountain that hadn't worked in years. That silence, it wasn't peace, it was warning. The gate code still worked. For now. My fingers trembled on the steering wheel. Not from fear, from instinct. Like something in me already knew this wasn't going to feel like coming home. Inside the house, everything was wrong. No shoes by the entry. No coats. No scent of cedar from the old wood floors. Just air too still. Empty. I flipped on the foyer lights. Bare walls. Cleared counters. Stripped. I dropped my keys. The silence cracked. My bedroom was gutted. Sheets gone. Frames emptied. Even the drawer with my letters gone. Panic started in my throat, moved to my chest. Then I saw it. A single white envelope taped to the mirror in the hallway. No handwriting. Just typed block letters. Property transfer complete. Occupancy revoked. Below it, a second page. Signed and processed via e-signature on May 14th at 1:42 a.m. May 14th. I was in court with Grant that morning. Mediation. I hadn't touched a laptop in 3 days. Footsteps. I spun. The sound came from the back hallway. I called out nothing. I grabbed the envelope, stuffed it in my coat, and moved toward the kitchen. The fridge was unplugged. Dishes were gone. Cabinets bare. This wasn't just cleaned out. This was sterilized. Erased. Like I'd never lived here at all. A door clicked behind me. I turned fast. And there he was. Victor. Suit pressed. Hair perfect. Glass of red wine in one hand like he'd been expecting me. Surprised it took you this long, he said, sipping casually. What the hell is this? I hissed. Why is everything gone? Where's Mom? Dad? They're resting, he said. Long day. You know, transferring millions is exhausting. I stared at him. You're kidding. Victor stepped forward, his eyes cold even when he smiled. You didn't really think they'd choose you over the company, did you? Something inside me dropped. This is illegal, I said. That signature is forged. Victor tilted his head. You always underestimated how easy it is to become invisible. One click, one signature, one digital trace, and poof. You no longer exist in your own story. I stepped back. And Grant? I asked. He's in on this. Victor's smile sharpened. He's smarter than he looks. I turned to leave. Oh, Victor added, there's one more thing. He tossed a folded sheet onto the kitchen island. A notarized document. Stamped. Time-stamped. With my name. Voluntarily transferring all marital assets to a provisional trust. Controlled by my father. See? You always said family would save you. Guess what? They did. I stared at the page. That wasn't my signature. It looked close. But not quite. Not enough to fool me. But enough to fool the courts. The back door slammed shut somewhere down the hallway. Victor didn't flinch. They didn't just take everything from me. They made it look like I handed it to them. The envelope was still in my coat pocket when I stepped into Lena's living room. The lock stuck, second time this week. But I shoved it shut behind me, bolted it, and pulled every curtain closed like I was being watched. I probably was. Lena's place smelled like old books and bitter espresso. Safe, small, anonymous. That's why I came here. She didn't ask questions, just left the key under the plant pot and a sticky note on the fridge. Sleep first. Rage second. I didn't sleep. I sat at her kitchen table with a flashlight in one hand and the eviction notice in the other. The paper felt too clean, like it had never been folded. Too flat. Too fast. It wasn't just a form, it was a script. Typed, notarized, time-stamped. May 14th, 1:42 a.m. I was in a hotel with Grant's lawyer that night, reviewing final custody notes. No laptop, no phone battery, and definitely not signing away my entire inheritance. I reached for my phone, hands shaking. I had to be wrong. I checked my cloud account, activity log, nothing on May 14th. Then I checked the other device I de-logged in. Unknown iPad, accessed, 1:41 a.m. It was still active. Someone had cloned my credentials. I stood up too fast, chair scraping hardwood. Outside, a car engine idled for a second too long. I froze. Headlight glow. Then darkness. Gone. Cutscene. The notary office listed on the document was in South Beach. I drove there the next morning. Unwashed. Hoodie up. No makeup. I needed them to underestimate me. Receptionist. Young. Chewing gum. Watching TikTok on mute. Hi, I said, voice low. Can I see the ledger from May 14th? My name should be in there. She didn't look up. You'll need a subpoena. What if I just want to confirm a mistake? She clicked her tongue, tapped the screen, then paused. You were here at 1:42 a.m. No, I said. That's the point. She turned the screen around. Footage. Grainy, black and white. A woman in a trench coat. My height. My hair. My gait. Signing the form. Smiling. Not me. But close enough to convince anyone who didn't know better. Distraction. Reveal. Cut. Back at Lena's that night, I played the video frame by frame. She even wore a ring like mine. Moved like me. Hell, she was me if you didn't look too hard. Who the hell was she? I searched public profiles. Facial recognition. Reverse image search. Nothing. Until I paused the video at the last frame. She turned slightly. Behind her, a partial reflection in the glass door. A man. Tall. Dark coat. Half his face visible. Victor. No doubt. He brought her. No more guessing. Lena came home late. Rain on her coat, scarf dripping. She dropped the keys in a ceramic bowl. You look like you saw a ghost. I didn't speak. Just turned the screen toward her. She stared. Lips pressed. Then sighed. Tell me you didn't go alone. I had to. Lena sat. Lit a cigarette. She wasn't supposed to smoke indoors. They're not just cutting you out, she said. They're manufacturing consent. That signature? The clone? The timing? That's too clean to be Grant alone. It's the Ellison legal machine. I nodded, numb. Your family doesn't believe in loyalty, she added. They believe in containment. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the trust document, flipped to the signature page. That's not my hand. No, Lena said. It's someone else's. But it's not forged. It's replicated. And it'll hold up. Unless we find the original handwriting sample it came from. My stomach turned. They've had my journals since college. Exactly. I stood up. Lena grabbed my wrist. You want to burn them, I get it. But burn too fast and you leave no trail. We need to follow the smoke first. She was right. Fire reveals more when it's slow. Still, I felt it coming. That twist of dread in your gut before the bomb drops. And it dropped at 2:17 a.m. A ping on Lena's backup tablet. New email. No subject. Attachment, a photo. Grainy. Tilted. Lena's apartment. Taken from across the street. The timestamp? 1 hour ago. That woman in the footage wasn't me. But she's about to destroy my life. The email was gone the second I opened it. Auto-delete. Encrypted. I stared at the spot where the photo had been. The grainy angle. The timestamp. My skin felt too tight. Someone was outside, watching us, hours before. Either they're trying to scare you, Lena said, her voice low, or they're letting you know you're already theirs. I didn't reply. My mouth was dry. Like all the words I could have said were just dust now. Lena walked to the window, opened the curtain half an inch. Black sedan. Parked. Engine off. It wasn't there 10 minutes ago. We don't sleep here tonight, she said. Cut scene. By 1:40 a.m., we were driving north on I-880. No headlights behind us. No tal. Not yet. I scrolled through the metadata I saved from the fake notary visit. Every video had one thing in common. The woman, the clone, always entered alone. But someone always left with her. I zoomed in on the reflection again. Half a face. Victor's jawline. No mistaking it. I want proof she's real, I muttered. You'll get it, Lena said. But we need a name first. Facial ID tools aren't magic. We need at least one thread to pull. Then we pull from Victor. We broke into Ellison Legal the next day. Not with crowbars. With Lena's old credentials and a temporary access code from a janitor she once bailed out of eviction. 7:18 p.m. After hours. Most of the building dark. Security cameras blinking red, but slow. Cheap. Low memory. We walked in like we belonged. Elevator ride, silent. Floor 14. Victor's private office. The lights were motion sensor. They snapped on as we entered. Beige goals. Trophy shelves. Photos of Victor shaking hands with judges. Desk locked. Lena pulled gloves from her coat. Success isn't built on honesty, she said. It's built on who has the key. She didn't have a key. She had a flathead screwdriver. 5 seconds. Click. Inside the desk drawer. Receipts, encrypted USBs, a burner phone, and an old photo. Lena froze. Is that? She handed it to me. It was a photo of the woman. The fake me. Younger. Hair shorter. Tattoo on her wrist. It was blurred, but not enough. A name scribbled on the back. Jade Harper. I ran a search in Lena's car. Actress. Minor roles. Mostly commercials. One court case for credit card fraud in 2018. No known address. But she had a P.O. box in Emeryville. We drove there. The mailbox was empty. But someone had tried to break the lock. Scratches. Fresh. She was being watched, too. Which meant she wasn't running the show. She was just a pawn. Back at Lena's, I locked myself in the bathroom. I stared at the mirror. Same jawline. Same cheekbones. Same mouth. If I wore that coat in that lighting on that camera, I'd look exactly like her. They didn't frame me, I whispered. They rehearsed me. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail only. I played it. Click. Then static. Then a voice. Distorted. Male. You're already in the ground, Natalie. You just haven't realized it yet. I dropped the phone. Lena opened the door. What? They're threatening me, I said. Not just watching. Threatening. She stared at me. Silent. Then walked to her desk. Pulled open a drawer. A gun. Cold metal. She slid it across the table to me. I'm not giving this to you because I think you'll use it, she said. I'm giving it to you because they think you won't. That night I didn't sleep. I sat by the window. Lights off. Watching. Waiting. At 3:11 a.m., someone walked past the house. Paused. Stared at the building. Then moved on. I held my breath the whole time. No phone. No message. Just presence. The next day, I accessed an old Ellison Holdings shared drive from Lena's encrypted laptop. Most files were locked. Except one. It was titled, Shadow Client, Q2 deposition. Inside, an unredacted legal statement. Jade Harper, deponent, paid subcontractor. She testified that all actions taken under the Natalie Ellison identity were approved by a superior, an Ellison executive. She signed it, dated 2 months ago. Attached, a clause stating non-disclosure under personal safety conditions. Jade wasn't freelancing. She was following orders. From family. Victor? Maybe. But the signature on the last approval page. Not his. It was Grant's. They didn't just erase my name, they planned to erase me. Lena paced while I stared at the screen. Grant's signature. On the approval of Jade Harper's impersonation contract. I wanted to vomit. This isn't just betrayal, I said. This is architecture. He built this. Lena stopped cold. Then he didn't just divorce you. He designed your disappearance. I couldn't breathe. Everything made sense now. The sudden coldness. The nights he came home late without explanation. The fake apologies. The silence when my parents started pulling away from me. Why destroy me? I whispered. What did I have that they needed gone? Lena lit another cigarette, this one shaking in her hand. Sometimes people don't need a reason. They just need opportunity. No, I said, voice flat. This is personal. We drove to the one person who'd know what Grant was hiding. Nolan. He was Grant's old friend from law school, now a junior partner at AMC Financial, Ellison Holdings Shadow Ledger. The kind of man who never answered calls unless they came with a threat. Lena had leverage. At 3:22 p.m., we parked outside AMC's sleek downtown glass building. We walked in through the back freight door. Lena flashed her fake ID. I kept my head down. 15th floor. White marble floors. Cold lighting. A receptionist blinked once when Lena said the name. We're here for Nolan Avery. I'm sorry, he's... Lena leaned in. Tell him it's about escrow discrepancy logs for June. Silence. She buzzed. We were let in 5 minutes later. Nolan was slimmer than I remembered. Older. Nicer suit. Colder eyes. He didn't offer a handshake. Close the door, he said. We did. I threw the photo of Jade onto his desk. He didn't flinch. Then I tossed the deposition. Still nothing. Then I dropped Grant's signed approval. That made him blink. Where did you get this? From your encrypted server, I said. You want to talk privacy breaches or perjury first? Nolan leaned back. You don't know what you're poking. I know enough, I said. I know that Jade wasn't freelancing. She was executing a plan. And that plan had a paper trail with your firm's watermark. Lena chimed in. Here's the thing, Nolan. We don't want your job. We want the name. He looked between us, exhaled slowly, then tapped his ring against the desk. Click, click, click. He finally spoke. There's a second trust, he said. My stomach clenched. What? Filed under a shell corporation. Sovereign seed investments. Opened under your name. That's impossible. No. It's elegant. The trust holds the phantom assets. Everything you were supposed to get. The payout from the Ellison estate. Property residuals. Stocks. Anonymously rerouted the minute you signed your release. Lena cursed. And who controls the shell? I asked. Nolan stared at me, then slid a piece of paper across the desk. Just one name typed. Chase Ellison. My older brother. The golden son. The obedient heir. The quiet manipulator. He's not even on my divorce paperwork, I said. He didn't have to be, Nolan said. He had your parents' trust, and that gave him proximity. I stood up. Everything shook around me. They erased me and paid themselves for the effort. Nolan's mouth twitched. And if you'd made more noise, Jade would have disappeared. No trace. One false move, and you'd be chasing ghosts through a court system that doesn't care. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. He looked down. Because I didn't sign up to erase people. Outside, the wind hit my face like ice. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Lena pulled me into an alleyway. You okay? No. What's next? I stared straight ahead. We find Chase. Lena nodded. And then I pulled the burner phone from my pocket, texted a single word to the number we found on Jade's contract. Meet. The response came 60 seconds later. Tonight. Public. 10 p.m. Bring no one. I turned to Lena. I'm going alone. She grabbed my arm. You sure? If I don't look her in the eyes, I'll never know who I'm up against. That night, I left everything behind except the gun. Because sometimes the only way to survive your own family is to become the thing they're afraid of. The alleyway was dark. Only a flickering street lamp broke the black. My heart thudded like a war drum. I checked the burner phone again. No new messages. Just silence. Out there. That was the worst part. I wasn't safe. Not anywhere. Lena's place was supposed to be a hideout. Instead, it felt like a cage with invisible bars. I couldn't sleep. Not after the message. You're already in the ground, Natalie. I swallowed. Tried to breath. A thought flickered, like steel meeting fire. Sometimes the only way out is through. I thought that because someone once told me, comfort is the enemy of progress. I walked past the cracked blinds. Black sedan. Parked across the street. Always watching. Always waiting. I knew one thing. This wasn't just about falsified signatures anymore. It was a war. By noon, I had the deposition file open on Lena's laptop. Jade Harper's testimony was thorough. Disturbing. She wasn't paid casually. She was contracted. Her role was clear. She acted under instruction. And funding. Every payment routed through Ellison Legal's escrow accounts. Every route traceable. Except for one. A final transfer. Destination. A private account in Las Vegas. Odd. Even for the Ellisons. I jotted down the trail. My hand shook. Then the doorbell rang. Lena wasn't home. I answered. No one there. Only a package. Brown box. No label. I opened it with my thumb. Inside, a single USB. No note. No return address. Only one word etched in Sharpie. Play. I plugged it in. The screen lit. Video file. One clip. 9:17 p.m. 2 nights ago. From a hallway camera. My face. Walking into Lena's apartment. Carrying the encrypted laptop. The camera followed me. I froze. Not because I was caught, but because someone had access to the footage without permission. That wasn't security. That was surveillance. Targeted. Personal. I didn't flinch. I don't flinch. I react. Then I heard it. Tyler's ringtone. Mom, are you okay? My son's voice broke through the storm. I hesitated. Only one question came out. D, are you safe? There was a pause. Dad says you're lying. Someone's telling me things that aren't true. My breath caught. He sounded confused, afraid, and manipulated. I clenched the phone. I'll come get you, I said. I hung up. I grabbed my keys. The moment I stepped outside, 2 black SUVs blocked the street. Windows tinted. No visible drivers. Not good. I turned back toward the front door. Too late. The SUVs slid forward, block by block, like a pincer. I braced myself. But then, the screen on the package USB blinked. New message. Watch closely. I activated the video again. This time another file. New scene. Grant. In a boardroom. Smiling. That same cold corporate smile. Only this time, he was showing a group of men and women a document. A contract. Clauses highlighted. What this means, he was saying, is that once Natalie releases her claim, Sovereign assets are redistributed within the family, uncontested. He paused, looked at the group, and added, "It's cleaner than litigation, and no one will ever know who initiated it." Cut to black. My jaw dropped. That wasn't desperation. That was premeditation. Strategic. Controlled. Not just Grant, but everyone around him. The betrayal spun out further than I imagined. I turned. SUV doors clicked. Concrete steps approaching. I ran. Not backward. Forward. Toward the alley. I didn't stop. Not even when the heel of my boot caught on a sewer grate. I hit the ground. Pain shot up. I didn't care. I scrambled. Up the fire escape. Smoke, iron dust. I kept going. Behind me, the sound of boots. Heavy. Comparable only to heartbeats. Thunderous. Up above, a fire escape hatch rattled open. A figure dropped down. Gun aimed. Not at me. At the SUVs. 2 shots. Flashes. Chaos. I blinked. Disoriented. Then I registered the voice. "You should never walk alone in war." It was Micah. Gun still smoking. He helped me up. Sirens. Far away, but growing closer. He said nothing else. Just handed me a small flash drive. "This is what they don't want anyone to find." I didn't ask. I just took it. Because I knew. This wasn't over. Not even close. And then it hit me. They tried to erase me. Now, I'm erasing them one file at a time. I walked into the ballroom like I owned every step. Lights. Cameras. The Ellison Foundation's annual gala was in full bloom. Crystal chandeliers. Champagne towers. Faces painted with privilege. My boots clicked against marble. Hard. Precise. Everyone expected me to be gone. Erased. They were wrong. Across the room, Victor Ellison stood beside the podium, smiling for accolades they think make them immortal. But no one there knew what was about to unfold. I didn't walk that floor. I owned it. Not because I wanted revenge, but because truth demands room to breathe. I reached into my clutch and pressed play on the flash drive Micah had given me. The screen lit. Grant's face filled the display, smiling too easy. Then Victor appeared beside him, nodding. The contract. The redistribution scheme. The clause that rewrote history. It was all there. Raw. Unfiltered. I stepped behind a column. Blood pumping. Heart too loud. "War doesn't make heroes," I whispered. "It just makes truth louder." Some truths feel explosive. This one did. Suddenly my phone buzzed. Live stream active. I didn't start it, but someone in the crowd had triggered it. Camera pointed at me. Crystal glasses clinked. Nothing unusual. Until I left the shadows. Walked to the center. Raised the phone screen. Everyone saw. My face. The video. Then the files. Then the damning evidence. Gasps. A few laughs, nervous. Then silence. Heavy. Solid. Like a stone dropped into glass. I saw Victor's jaw tighten. I saw Grant's eyes flicker. Not clever. Not composed. Terrified. And that's when the room shifted. Jade Harper sat at a front table. Under bright lights. No wig. No disguise. Just truth. She stood when eyes found her. Not defiant. Just real. "The contracts I signed," she said, voice steady, "were drafted under coercion. I was told to act. Names were taken. Futures rewritten." Her gaze landed on Victor. Not fear. Recognition. The room buzzed. A voice from the crowd. "Is this legal?" I stepped forward. "Yes." Short. Sharp. "Under U.S. law," I said, "any contract signed under coercion, fraud, or deceptive practices is voidable, and the families involved in transferring my assets without my true consent have violated multiple statutes." Murmurs. Phones recording. Justice isn't quiet. It's televised. The next 30 seconds felt cinematic, like the world had snapped into slow motion. Security guards moved toward me, but I saw Nolan step between us. Not as protector, as witness. "Stop," he said. Instant static. Every phone in the room captured it. I didn't flinch. I raised my voice. "Everyone who profited from this scheme is now under investigation. Financial misconduct, wire fraud, coercion, conspiracy. That includes Ellison Holdings executives and anyone who signed those documents." The front doors burst open. Investigators in dark suits. Badges lifted. Flash photography. The crowd parted. Agents moved toward Victor, toward Grant, toward Conrad and Margot Ellison, who stood stunned in the back, pearls trembling. Someone said, "This is unprecedented." I heard it, half amazed, half unbelieving, but it was real. Outside, the night air was colder, fresher, not weighted with secrets. I stepped into it like rebirth. Blue sirens faded behind me. I didn't cry. I didn't look back. Not because I was heartless, because I was finally unburdened. Someone once said, "Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's knowing what's worth fighting for." Tonight, I knew exactly what was worth fighting for. The truth. Not vindication. Not revenge. Truth. I walked toward my car, phone in hand, a message waiting. From Tyler. "I saw you live. I'm proud of you." Short. Simple. Almost perfect. I stared at it. I texted back 3 words. "I'm coming home." At the edge of the parking lot, I stopped. Looked at the skyline, San Francisco lights, blinking like distant promise. And I thought of something else someone once said. The darkest nights produce the brightest stars. I didn't believe it at first, but standing there, watching colors against black, I did. The world had followed my unraveling. Now it would follow my rebuilding. Not for spectacle, for justice, for healing, for tomorrow. I slid into my car. Engine turned. Headlights cut through the night. I drove. Not fast. Not slow. Just forward. Not because the past was gone, but because it no longer held me prisoner. And in that moment, for the first time in months, I breathed. Not in fear. Not in anticipation. Just in peace. Because, while they believed they erased me, they only wrote the opening line of my comeback. They tried to bury me, but I was not done, and neither was the truth.